Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Byron Show. It's been a hot minute since we've had one of these episodes, but here it is, the Memorial Week. And we've got myself and Ron. Old John's on assignment elsewhere, doing great and wonderful things as always. So it's just going to be us two doing our thing and kind of back to the home roots of where we started all this stuff here at betspurtsgolf.com. So, Ron, how are you, buddy?
Doing well. Yeah, last week, happy for your boy Griot, who I don't even think you bet, did you?
Nope. I had him in so much else, Rainmakers, DFS, all that, but not outright. I'm not going to hit an outright this year. I've just come to terms with that.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's so hard out there this year. But last week it was almost like a post-major letdown for a lot of the favorites. So not the best week, but love the Memorial. One of my favorite tournaments of the year. The course is so immaculate just watching on TV. And, reports are that the greens are playing as firm as they ever have been. And so I think it's going to be a true test of golf this week. Very little rainfall over the last month. The weather looks great. So I'm really looking forward to see what happens this week.
Yeah, and I think the Sarcadias, those bugs that kind of showed up last year that just kept pestering the background of the broadcast, they only come around like 5 or 7 years every cycle. So hopefully they're not there this year, because those were some crazy background noises, but that's besides the point. So we've got the Memorial, Ron. You've got articles over at betspurts.com. We've got everything you could wish for over there. We've got your course breakdown. We've got all the picks and strategies. We've got the office hours. We've got all that jazz. We've got the custom model. I know you're using good drives percentage, which is not the customary good drives percentage. So elaborate a bit on that. Chat to the people about what they can get over at betspurts.com.
Yeah, so we've got articles come out all day today, yesterday. Of course, I put my model on there on Tuesday. So that's in the Discord, in my betting article. And then, yeah, like you said, we kind of started this a few weeks ago. We call it office hours. It's at 4:30 Eastern. And, we're kind of playing and feeling it out, seeing, when I know that's maybe a bit of a difficult time for some people to get online, but we'll move that if we need to. But it's basically a chance for myself and Ryan Noonan, Andy Molitor. Anybody has any questions, DFS, betting, just anything, we're there to kind of go through things, answer questions as we get closer to, tee off tomorrow morning. But yeah, like you said, this is a course where, basically tee to green form is everything this week. And so, did a couple different things with, some of my modeling. So this is the 10th elevated event. And so I kind of went back and looked at how players have performed over the first 9 of these, which does include, the Masters and the PGA Championship. And so that's one thing that's interesting to look at. It's kind of a team no putt week. Hideki won here in 2014, losing strokes putting, and obviously one of the worst putters in history, Jason Duffner, won here. So, the greens, while they are fast and they are very undulating and sloped, all the data says the greens and putting is much easier here than the tour average. And so it's kind of interesting to look at that angle as well. But yeah, good drive percentage is going to be very key this week. And, what I did is, this course, and before I get to the good drive stuff, so, it's a long course. So you're going to have length off the tee, but at the same time, the rough is so thick. And if you're hitting your drives wayward, if you are even on approach, if you're just all over the place, missing greens, you're going to have to deal with these, small greens, first of all, 5,000 square feet. And so just around the green, it's so challenging here. It's actually the toughest course to gain strokes onto around the greens. And so, I just think a lot of different angles to look at this week, but good drive percentage kind of takes a look at, are you hitting the ball in the fairway, number one? And number two, if you don't hit it in the fairway, is your second shot, does it land on the green? And so, instead of just looking at all courses, I kind of looked at courses very similar to Muirfield Village that have long rough and difficult approach as far as hitting greens in regulation. And so, yeah, that's on the Discord as well. And just different ways to look at it this week, trying to almost simulate, what players are going to be up against this week.
Yeah, no, I don't have any, rebuttals to what you put out there. I think it's pretty stock standard. When you see course history as strong as this, there's usually a blueprint to success. and that's, how it rolls. So there's no real getting different. You can maybe lean on a few guys that are really tidy around the short game section of the game, but a little more accurate off the tee. The long hitters will probably be the most popular this week, as always, but it'll be fun. So let's dive into the board. We've got some seriously fun names at the top here that we have to make some decisions on. We've got Scotty Scheffler 11-3, John Rahm 11K, Rory 10-6, Patrick Cantley 10-5, and Xander at 10-2. It's a really cool range. We've got some absolute studs here. 4 of them, one of them is not like the other, and that's Rory McIlroy. His consistency has just not been nearly as translatable to the other 4. They have just been on fire from a floor ceiling, the 4 floor. They are just out there just building. And the consistency has just been bananas by them. So what are we doing in this range here, Ron? I know your patented play everybody and then kind of get different downstairs strategy may be applicable this week. I think that may be the route I'm going to be going. What are you running with?
Yeah, so again, to me, there's the big 2 right now. It's not a big 3. I know some people still like to put Rory in there, but like you said, he's got to prove it. He's got to show it. And that being said, he did finish 7th last week, and but at the same time, when you look at what Scheffler has done, like his tee to green form is just sick. I mean, when you just look at the last 24 rounds, okay, he's gained 78 total strokes tee to green. Okay, 24 rounds, 78. The next second person on that list is Patrick Cantley at 49 strokes tee to green. So he's just lapping the field right now. And I mean, if you think about it, if he's just slightly better with his putter the last 3 events he's been in, he probably wins all 3 of those. And so, he's a great play this week, especially if you're just looking at the tee to green angle, with putting not being as important this week. So you cannot go wrong with Scheffler. I will try to fit as many lineups with him as I can. And then John Rahm, he's going to be in for a huge bounce back this week after finishing, 50th at Oak Hill. What he does off the tee, his strength from the rough, his short game has just come around so well recently. So I think he fits this course, almost as good as Scheffler does. And one thing I did is, when I added in his 3 rounds back from 2021 when he was forced to withdraw, where he obviously would have been the runaway winner, he's been even better than Patrick Cantley here. Cantley is like the king of Muirfield Village, but if you add in those rounds for Rahm is averaging 3.28 strokes gained per round here in 11 rounds at Muirfield Village. So, Rahm, his history is just unbelievable as well. And then, for me, Patrick Cantley, it was a tough decision from a betting perspective, Rahm or Cantley. But, like I just said, he has the second best history here compared to any other player at any other PGA Tour course, with a minimum of 24 rounds. Cantley's gained 2.74 strokes here in 28 career rounds, going back to, winning this event in 2021, 2019. Cantley ranks in the top 10 in almost every single category in my model. And he's been playing stellar golf of late with, 7 consecutive top 20 finishes, including 4 top 10s. So for me, it's Scheffler, Rahm, and Cantley. And yeah, like you said, I think you have to, going to be hard to fit 2 of those guys in the same lineup. Now there's some guys we'll talk about later on. But I think it's very important to have one of those 3 in as many lineups as you can get. And yeah, for me, I'm definitely fading Rory. It's just the price tag is just too high.
Yeah. I've chatted to some people, they're kind of interested in Rory's as a leverage play, but I don't know, when you're going to be leveraging a guy like that, is he really going to be beating one of those other 3 guys kind of thing? He just hasn't been showing it. He just doesn't have it right now. And I do think the PGA that golf course could not fit him any better outside of 2 holes. The off the tee stuff there is just, he can absolutely dismantle that golf course there. So he obviously played a lot better. This week, I think he was going to get a lot more punished for his errant tee shots, which I think is going to be really interesting. So yeah, John Rahm, Patrick Cantley, Scotty Scheffler, 1, 2, 3 in my course history. And then you take a look at medium course scoring, 1, 2, 3, birdie or better rates, 1, 2, 3. It's like they are just doing their thing up top there, and it's kind of ludicrous what's going on. So you're definitely going to have to sprinkle each one of them in there in your lineups to one degree. If I was feeling frisky, I was thinking I'm just going to roll with Patrick Cantley for the majority and fade those other two guys because you get that $500, $800 savings off the other two. I feel like at this golf course, he's got as good a shot as them two. He's cheaper, can fit some other studs in the bottom there, compared to what Rahm and Scotty are going to do to your salary. But that's a risky play. I think if you are going to try and go with one of these guys, I don't know about him. So it's an interesting situation. I think you got to play it conservative up there and then kind of get different elsewhere. So just put that out there for y'all. So let's go into this 10K, the 9K range, because we've just done the 10Ks. 9Ks, we've got Colin, Victor, Jason Day, Tyrrell, JT, Sungjae, and Matt Fitzpatrick. Some interesting names, chalk accumulating in very normal, predictable spots. We've got a lot of Victor Hovland love this week. We've got a lot of Tyrrell Hatton love this week. And then there's like a bit of meandering between the other guys. So are you fading Tyrrell or Victor? And who are your pivots in this range, Ron?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this range this week. If Morikawa is a little bit cheaper, I've just been burned so many times by him recently. I just think 9-9. I think people like to lump him and Justin Thomas together a lot. And so the fact that he's 700 more than JT really doesn't make sense much to me here. Now he's a guy who, obviously he won the workday here. Now that course, same course, but the setup was much easier. But Morikawa has played well on, some of these Jack Nicklaus courses, like he won a TPC concession as well. So, Morikawa's coming in maybe 10% right now. So he's kind of, to me, the top leverage play up here because I think people are going to be shying away from his salary with just so many good options around him. For me, though, I'm kind of dropping down now. I would be interested in Tyrrell Hatton, but when I see him getting up to 16, 17%, just knowing, how inconsistent he's been in the past. Now, he's been consistent lately, but he's only played here one time, and that was like 3 years ago. So he's someone I'm willing to pass on. And listen, my love for Justin Thomas is known, but again, this week, full disclaimer here, I have zero confidence that he's going to win this week. I have zero confidence he's even going to finish in the top 20. But again, I just keep coming back to him at 9,200, another great price. So this is kind of strictly for me a value play. And, his ownership is kind of right there, 10, 11%. But even with his struggles at the PGA Championship, his iron play still remains, one of the best in the world. And to me, maybe it's just me, but he has looked more confident on the greens the last two events after he has started to use the aim point putting method. He's actually gained 1.2 strokes over his last two tournaments. So you know what, he can hit all the shots around the green that are necessary here. He's 11th in my model around the green scrambling. So the upside is there, and I think he does have the skill to have success at this course. So he's going to kind of be my main pivot here at 9,200. And it's just hard because you got Sungjae who's slumping. Is this the course he's going to bust out of it? I mean, I don't know. You got Matt Fitzpatrick who, when you look at it at 9K flat, I mean, this should be a great course for him. A tough course. He thrives at these places, but he's missed the cut here his last two trips, and his inconsistency has just been something else. Going from winning the Heritage to playing poorly last week or at the PGA Championship. So for me, this might be a range that I kind of skip over a lot more because I really like the 8K range.
Okay, that's interesting. I don't mind Matt Fitzpatrick. If you take a look at why he missed the cut last year, it was one of the most bizarre putting performances he's ever. I think he lost 7.5 strokes putting in 2 rounds of golf, which is something ludicrous. And then he's got I think a T4 or T3 as well, like in between all those missed cuts.
Yeah,
so
2 years ago.
When he makes the cut, he's okay around this golf course. I think it suits him really nicely. I'm seeing him sitting around 10% at 9K flat. And then Jason Day. I mean, the guy came into the PGA Championship vocally disclaiming that, look, I'm not expecting to play well this week. I'm not even going to play a practice round. Now we go to Muirfield. This is just post-win. Like 3 weeks ago, he just won a golf tournament. Now we've got 10% Jason Day in Dublin, Ohio. And the guy's 25 minutes from here. I think he lives there. So it's like, it's a perfect storm for me. I think he's a great pivot. And then I bet Tyrrell Hatton outright. I think he's trending, Ron. He's really, really trending right now. And you know me, I'm not a big Tyrrell fan. So for me to get on him at this kind of ownership, I'm kind of a little nervous about it. But like you said with JT as well, I love the putting there. So lots to like. Sungjae's irons are broken. Six straight rounds now. He's just lost strokes on approach. And that's been over a span of some serious time. So a little concerning there. I don't know if he's going to find it this week. It'll be interesting, especially at that kind of, the same ownership as J Day and Matt Fitzpatrick. So let's get into the 8Ks, see what's going on over there. Talk about some guys, the guys that you love, the guys that you want to fade the 9Ks for. And it starts with Jordan Spieth, Cameron Young, who I just found out today has been sick and lost like 10 or 15 pounds. So I've been just throwing my money away on some guy that's trying to fight off some disease. But anyway, we'll digress there. Hideki Matsuyama's kind of picking up some steam. Sam Burns at 86. Round out the bottom here with Siwoo Kim, Adam Scott, Shane Lowry, Wyndham Clark at the bottom of the 8Ks. Some interesting names, some guys I like too. I mean, Ricky is starting to become one of the most consistent golfers on the planet. And now he's in the 8K range at a golf course that he's played well at before. So I like Ricky a lot this week. He's chalky as heck. Jordan Spieth's around the green game since the wrist injury has just been deliriously bad. And I'm going to be fading him this week because of that in particular. I think you need to be a savvy around the green specialist, which he typically is. But this wrist injury, I don't know if he even has one, has been a problem since he came out with it. So we'll see what happens there. Guys you like in this range, Ron? Anyone you kind of agree with me?
Yeah, so looking at I'll just take the upper K first, and just going to Cameron Young real quick. So yeah, one of his kids was sick, and it kind of spread to him over the last couple of weeks. But I will tell you this: some reports from inside his camp, he's back, he's ready to go, he's fully healthy. He was also going through some swing issues. Apparently, those are much better as well. So again, when you're looking at Cameron Young, 5% ownership on a course that, I mean, let's be honest, this, when you're talking about length, accuracy, again, his difficulty has been the short game. And so, I think this might be a really good buy low situation for Cam Young. And so I'm definitely going to be playing him. And if he's coming in at 5%, all I need is 10%, 12%. So he's someone to keep an eye on here. For me, though, there's really two plays here that I love. And I'll come back at you with Jordan Spieth. I know he let everyone down last week, me included. But again, I think his short game struggles can easily be fixed. And I say that because he has been quoted, when you go back through his history here at Muirfield Village, like he is just overwhelming in his love for the greens here and how the undulations and the slope, how it fits his eye. He's always said that he loves fast greens. And so these greens at Muirfield Village usually are running between 12 and 13 on the stimp, which is quite fast. So, reports say, who knows what's going on with the wrist, but everyone who's seen him says he looks completely healthy. He looked completely fine last week. And so, he's got great results here. He's got 4 straight top 18 finishes. And so I kind of look forward to, in a low scoring event like this, kind of watching his creativity around the greens and just kind of seeing, what shots he can save this week. And so really like Spieth. Again, ownership coming in right around 10%. So you got some guys in this range that you can take advantage of. Now, Hideki is one whose ownership is kind of spiking a little bit more than I would have liked. I thought he might go a little bit more under the radar, but I think with him, I think with Muirfield Village being, the toughest course to gain strokes around the green, he was number 1 in my model by a decent margin in that area. So, when you're looking at, scrambling, he's third. One of the best iron wedge players from the rough. Bent grass greens are his favorite surface. So, with the course playing so firm as it is this week, birdie putts are going to be tough to come by for everyone. And so, again, like we're talking team no putt here, this kind of mitigates, one of his main weaknesses. And so, he's also rounding into form, pretty nicely, 5 straight top 30s, finished 5th at the Players, 16th at the Masters. So yeah, Spieth and Matsuyama, and then throw in a little Cam Young up here. And I will say this, Ricky Fowler, I think I wouldn't have been shocked if he was in the 9K range just based on how good he's playing. So I know ownership is sneaking up for him as well. But I think Fowler is just a very safe play. Again, not guaranteeing he'll finish top 20, but I think he's finished in the top 20 like in 8 of his last 9 events, and some of those elevated events as well. So I think Ricky Fowler is a really good safe play at 8,500.
Yeah, Ricky Fowler, 64% of top 20 rates in the last 11 starts for him. I mean, that's just some seriously good stuff. Outside of those top few guys, that's kind of an elite top 20 rate. Someone I do not mind in this range is Corey Connors, and he's also chalky. But Ron, we are seeing some ball striking from Corey Connors right now, along with a mediocre to slightly above average short game, which is not Corey Connors' thing. So we're getting some like patented Corey Connors, Stripe City, Syrup City on the ball striking front. And then we're getting an average around the green play and some reasonable putting lately. So what are your thoughts on that? Are you kind of right? Is it chalk? He's looking chalky, but validated.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's great chalk just because, he was great at Oak Hill, was in contention to the end there. He just won at Valero. He just seems to show up consistently in these strong fields on these tough courses. Like you said, he's a ball striking wizard. With tee to green being so important this week, he's his 9th best in this entire field, tee to green. And he's gained with the putter in 4 of his last 5. So, he's kind of made such great improvements in that area. And similar to Ricky Fowler, I just look at him as just a great safe play. If you're, when we get down to the 6-7K range, it kind of thins out a little bit. But, if you're looking for some safety, Corey Connors is another guy that fits that bill. Shane Lowry, Shane Lowry's ball striking has been good enough to win numerous events this year. I mean, he gained 9.2 strokes ball striking at the PGA, finished 12th there, 16th at the Masters. Just a couple months ago, he was 5th at PGA National, which is another Jack Nicklaus track. 6th on this course at Muirfield in 2021. So, at 8,100, I know people are sour on him. He's just such a frustrating player to watch when he misses so many short putts. So he's another guy and then I'll just drop off here with Adam Scott at 8K flat. He struggled for a while there. I mean, he even came out and said, top 40s on the PGA Tour is just not going to get it done. He was making cuts like crazy, but just every single week he was in that, finishing 30th to 50th in that range. And here we go. Last 3 events, he's got 2 top 8s. His irons are finally cooking. He's gained almost 8 strokes on approach his last 3 events. Again, he's going to give you another safe guy here. 13 of 14 made cuts here at Muirfield Village. 4 top 5s here. So he loves this course. I think it's a great fit for him just from a length perspective, but from a long iron perspective. And so, when you get into this lower 8K range, if you're looking for some safe guys, just to kind of fill the middle or even the bottom of your lineup, if you're going for, a really balanced approach, there's a lot of good quality here.
Yeah. I'm on the record as not playing Adam Scott. I know that the irons have trended in the right direction lately, but I'm kind of just banking on him not taking care of business with the irons this week. I can't do it at that ownership. And it makes a lot of sense to go there, but, you got to pick your poison and kind of choose your battles. So I'll be out on Adam this week, unfortunately. Hopefully it pays off. So we'll see what cooks there. 7K range. We got a lot of guys, a lot of good options. Still, it's not necessarily like we're running out of bad, good golfers to put on yet. There's some good guys we can lean on. Starting off with Russell Henley and Tom Kim right at the top. Yeah, kind of 11 and 12% average ownership looking for me. Both playing some solid golf. Tom Kim taking his clothes off for us at the PGA Championship was always a treat. Russell Henley, just 4 straight top 20s now. This guy's just balling out. These 2 are the most first and second most accurate golfers off the tee in the field. So we got Tom and Russell sitting right by each other at $7,900. Also, 2 very solid approach players. They're just really good with the irons. So 2 popular guys in the top of the 7s. You want to chat about them and then maybe kind of give me some other guys that you got your eye on here in the 7-5 range. One of them would be Cam Davis for me, a nice little bounce back spot after a very disappointing week last week. And then, we've got Keegan and the gang there. So talk to me about the 79 to 75 range, Ron.
Yeah, there's some really good ball strikers in here. And if we're talking tee to green being important this week, you look at a guy like Gary Woodland, who is 15th best in this field, tee to green. His approach off the tee is just so consistent every single week.
Yeah.
Again, he's another guy that let everybody down. I know he was really highly owned at the PGA Championship. Coming in, still much lower owned this week, right around 7-8%. But again, I think this is another course that fits him. For me, like Tom Kim is interesting at 7,900, just because, the more you look into it with, kind of when Nicholas renovated this course back in 2020, he obviously made the par fives longer, fairways pinched in a little bit more. So I think Tom Kim's accuracy off the tee, I think that is in play here. And I think, just his upside, I think he's kind of disappeared a little bit, kind of fallen into this, top 30, top 40 area. But again, coming in pretty low owned. So he's a guy that's pretty high on my board. I'll drop down a little bit to Denny McCarthy, right at 7,600 here. So what I love about him is his improved ball striking is kind of giving him more paths to success instead of, we always typically think of him, he's always relying on the short game, the putter. But in his last four elevated events, he has 4 straight top 30s. So, he's doing this in strong fields. He gained 4 strokes on approach at Oak Hill, for crying out loud. So, I think Denny McCarthy is Denny McCarthy.
Yeah.
So he's kind of another one of those guys who's kind of totally transformed his game. He's much more versatile now. And so I think he's a great play, 7,600. I always love Keith Mitchell at these courses where, you want total driving is key this week, when you combine distance and accuracy. He's kind of struggled around the green on approach. So if you're looking for someone with some leverage here who does have some upside, Keith Mitchell coming in around 3-4%, we'll have him a little bit at 7,600. The one other guy I'll say here, kind of in the upper part of this range, Billy Horschel. It seems like he may have finally figured out some things with his swing. He finally did not lose on approach last week, made the cut at the Charles Schwab. He was better off the tee at the PGA Championship. So I think with Billy, it's more of a thing where, he's going to get up for this event. He's going to take pride in trying to defend his title from last year. Of course, he won here. So, I think Horschel's an interesting look just from another low-owned perspective at right around 4% right now.
Yeah, it's interesting because the form is obviously not there. You're going to be relying on him doing a big man moment type situation, jumping up for the occasion. I prefer Matt Kuchar, not nearly as leverageable as Billy, but Matt Kuchar, 9th in the field in par 5 scoring and 3rd in bogey avoidance. So this is 2023 season. And Old Kuchar is doing his thing. Like, he just goes under the radar. I know you said Hideki's one of your top around the green players, but I've got Kuchar as the best around the green for 2023 so far. Out of bunkers, he's amazing. We discussed that, I think, on the last show going into the PGA Championship. The guy is unreal out of the bunkers, has had a good course record here, and, the irons are starting to trend in the right direction over the last 6 rounds. He's $7,500, gives you some nice safety in this range too. So I don't mind him at all. I do agree with Gary Woodland too, and Denny. Denny broke my heart last week. I had him in a matchup against Minwoo, and that went down in flames. Scooting down to this bottom of the 7Ks, we have got ourselves a Chris Kirk, a Kurt Kitayama, KH Lee, Christian Bezuidenhout, my boy, Seamus Power, couldn't go without saying his name, Ryan Fox, rounding out with some Hayden Buckley, Nikolai Hogard, and Stefan Jaeger. Some fun names, some volatile names, some names that provide some consistency, but a little bit of lack of upside, like Bezzy. I don't mind Bezzy again this week. I love what he's got up to course history-wise at this venue. You cannot continue to be so bad around the greens as Christian Bezuidenhout has been since improving his approach play. He's 7th in the field in approach over the last 24 rounds, and that includes Sam Bennett ahead of him, who's only played 4 rounds, so make it 6th. The guy's one of the most elite iron players in the world right now, Ron.
And he used to be great around the greens too. Like, that was one of his strengths. So yeah,
I know. So it's time for him to get his game together. I don't understand how you can just lose that touch. So it's go time for him. Maybe this golf course kind of brings it out in him. I don't know. He's accurate off the tee. I think that's good. Since his swing has changed, I think that accuracy's definitely picked up. The distance, not quite there yet. We can probably expect that in the next transformation from our guy. But I love what he's been up to. So sign me up for some Bezzy. Hayden Buckley, if you're talking about like a Keith Mitchell light, basically. I mean, he's pretty much on the same page as Mitchell when it comes to off the tee stuff. And he's a bit better of an iron player too. And he can putt better too. Well, not putt better, but he can putt nicely. And I think he's much cheaper. So I don't mind old Hayden Buckley this week, even after the disastrous showing that he had at the Charles Schwab. So share some names with me here and then bottom of the sevens. I'm sure you got a few guys you like.
Yeah, and really quick, I forgot to mention someone I love that I just kind of skipped over. I think you mentioned him briefly, but Russell Henley, just at the top of the 7K range there. So just what I have for him, he's a great course fit, top 5 ball striker. And the thing that, looking at his event log is he's actually finally starting to show up in these bigger events. He kind of had this reputation as someone who, you get him to majors, he struggles, but, 4th at the Masters, 19th at the Players, even going back to Oak Hill, he missed the cut, because of the putter, but again, he gained 4 strokes on approach on that course. And so I got to mention Russell Henley there. But yeah, going back down to the bottom part of this range, Ben On is a name who initially I was really high on, just because he has 2 top 20s here. When we're talking, tee to green, looking at my numbers here, when you go back over the last 24 rounds, he ranks 8th in this entire field, tee to green. Okay. So everyone knows, glass eyes, Benny, struggles on the greens, and that's kind of continued recently. The only thing that's kind of negative with me now is, I see him, I don't know what you have, Matt, but I see him right around 12%. And so, that's something I'm going to think about here over the next few hours, how much I actually want to play him. But yeah, going down as we go further here, I do love Bezuidenhout. I think with accuracy being important here off the tee, I think, that combined with his approach play and again, short game skills is not something that just leaves you forever. So I think, he has that in him. And so, I think he's actually a great play, maybe not with the upside. And we all know that, we don't expect him to win at 7,200, but if he comes in top 20, even top 30, that's what you're looking for here. Probably one of my favorite plays on the entire slate is down here, Ryan Fox. So going back to last week, okay, I did not expect him to make the cut, and he finishes 21st. Okay, I did not think Colonial was really a good fit for him. He's more of a bomber off the tee, tends to be wild at times a little bit with the driver. But he gains strokes in every category except around the green. Go back to Oak Hill, PGA Championship. He's coming off pneumonia. He admitted he had hardly even played. He goes and he finishes 23rd on that challenging course. Before that, he was 26th at the Masters. And so I think Ryan Fox at 7,100, that might be the most disrespectful price on this board. I would not have blinked if he was 7,800, 7,900, somewhere in that range. So I just think, this is a really good course fit for him where he can kind of use his length off the tee. And again, putting, he's gained strokes with the putter 3 in a row here. So I think that's another good thing in his favor. So he's kind of my favorite play in this range. I think a guy like Taylor Montgomery, you'd think, when I see him at less than 1% ownership, 7,200, but you just look and you dig into those approach numbers, and he's literally almost the last person in this field, in approach. And so, he's someone that, I would love to have played here, but a guy I'm definitely gonna have to pass on. Brian Harman's the other name I'll mention here. He's got a few decent positive finishes here. Very cheap, 7,200. So he's another guy that if you're looking for safety near the bottom of your lineup, I do like Brian Harman as well.
Yeah, no, Brian Harman, he's a sneaky underrated off the tee. Like he's 19th in the field in strokes gained, and it's mainly because of his accuracy, which he doesn't have a lot of distance. It's medium distance there, but really, really impressive stuff from old H-Man. So some fun things going on there. You're not a fan of Hayden Buckley this week, Ron?
No, I think he's a guy I played a lot last week, and I expected a better result from him. But again, you got a young guy. He's going to have ups and downs. He has showed some flashes this year. And so, it all starts off the tee this week. And of course, that is his strength. So again, just about dialing in those approaches. So yeah, I'll have a little bit of Buckley. He's coming in very low owned right now, 3-4%. Yeah. So I do think he's a quality play as well.
Cool. You mentioned Billy Horschel. I have an Adam Svensson bet over Billy Horschel. I know that's going to be dealing with a bit of course history layover there, but I think Svensson as a general play is better than Billy right now. He's 5% owned in the 6-9 range over here, which is kind of interesting, but I don't mind him at all. He's pretty consistent for a 6K golfer. Justin Suh is 6'9", and he has made cut after cut after cut. I think he just had his cut streak broken. I think, was it the week after the Wells Fargo or something? Like,
I missed the Byron Nelson. He missed. Yep.
Yeah. So he broke it there, but I mean, the guy was on a mission, man, and he's just so consistent. And I love, the short game that he can get up to with the putter at this venue. Very accurate too. So I don't mind him. Eric Cole is $6,900, and everyone was on him last week, and now not so much. I think this course probably plays to his strengths a little bit better than last week even. So I don't mind him at 6,900 smacks. I'm going to be going back to freaking Brendan Todd, who I bet Justin Rose, Brendan Todd last week, and they both just disintegrated on the greens. Like the two best putters in the field, basically inside the top 5 there, couldn't putt to save their lives. Brendan Todd, I'm going back to him, accuracy, and he's one of the best total short game players in the field. Like he's like a Minwoo Lee, where he's not going to grade out if you put a lot of approach in there, but when he gets his stuff done because of the around the green play, and he's done that before at this venue many, many times. So I like him. Brandon Wu at $6,600. Also really good, really, really good around the greens and on approach too. Like he's stellar. So I like Brandon Wu, and a lot of people were on him, and then he kind of played once or twice, a few bad results, and they kind of jumped off. So we'll see what goes on there. I'll rattle off a few more names, Ron, and then you can kind of tell me if you got your eye on any of them either. Mark Hubbard and Matthew Neesmith, both at $6,500, seem really appealing to me. They seem like a bit more popular in that range too, but I don't mind either of them. Some Robbie Shelton love here, one of the best around the green player. Especially like this range is going to be important if you kind of go with a Patrick Cantley, John Rahm start kind of thing. Like if you want to get real frisky and take a chance on two of these guys in the 6K range somehow in a GPP of sorts, Robbie Shelton kind of gives you some nice salary relief down here. And then Danny Willett is an interesting character, really good around the greens too. Fancy him. And then Ches Reavie, $6,200. Ches is on a bit of a tear himself right now. Guys, ball striking, the irons are just sizzling, and the putter's been hot. So got some good course history here too. So I don't mind Ches at all. So lots of fun, guys. Some risky plays, but you're going to have to do that if you're playing some big tournaments and looking to get different somewhere. So your 6K.
Yeah, you took my first two guys. I think Adam Svensson, if you talk Ryan Fox, is the most disrespected, underrated, whatever you want to call him. I think Svensson might be the second most. All this guy does is finish, event after event, top 41 or better in 5 of his last 6, all elevated events, by the way. So he's just consistently, rising to the top of the leaderboard, or at the very least being consistent. He's had spike weeks in every single strokes gained category. If you look at what he's done, he'll have weeks where he spikes with the putter, and then other weeks where he's around the green and then with the irons. And so, to me, that speaks of a guy who doesn't have any specific weaknesses. And so, he's a guy who, again, we've talked about this many times, when you get into this 6K range, you're either looking for course history guys, or you're looking for guys who just have some, extreme upside. And so, hey, if this is a week he can put it all together, I think Svensson is just a great play at 6,900. Like you said with Justin Suh, he has the all-around game that we're looking for here. Again, PGA Championship, I didn't expect it from him either, but there he is in contention, after 36 holes. Another top 20 last week. And like you said, he's made the cut in 16 of his last 17 tournaments. So again, consistency plus upside, exactly what we're looking for here. And then I'll say one other guy that I really love, who had his struggles early in the year, but Alex Smalley, at 6,800. When you look at what he's done his last 3 events, 18th at the Wells Fargo, 23rd at the PGA Championship, 40th last week. His ball striking has just come back really strong. He gained 5 strokes last week. He gained over 6 strokes at the PGA. Last week he lost with the putter, and that's kind of his weakness that he struggles with. But again, this week at a course like this, where it's not going to be a putting contest, I think Alex Smalley is a really good look as well. And yeah, when you get, for me, as I get kind of further down here, there's not much that stands out to me. I think Austin Eckroat at 6,600 is interesting, just based on his recent performance. Taylor Pendrith at 67, I think we all know he has the skill set here, whether it's, talking about length off the tee, can get hot around the greens. So he's a guy that I like. Aaron Rye will be probably the only other guy, probably as low as I'll go here at 6,500. He is in the top 15 when we're looking at tee to green play over the last 24 rounds. Another guy who struggles with the putter. So I really do like Aaron Rye this week. I think he typically plays very well on these tough courses. And so I think he's a guy who you can feel pretty confident in as kind of being the last guy in your lineup, especially if you're, trying to go, a Scotty Scheffler, Jordan Spieth build, or you're trying to fit, two of those upper tier guys in your lineup.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I'm a little salty about Aaron Rye. The model kicked him out, and I kicked him to the bench because I didn't think he could do a top 40 for me. And I'm finishing inside the top 20 and kicking Bezzy to T21 and missing my top 20 bet on him. So he caused me financial repercussions like you don't want to believe last week. So I'm a bit salty. I'm going to just let him do his thing against you there, Ron. Let him deal the damage to you this time and see how it goes. But let's talk some boys at the top here. Let's go from 8,500 between 10,000. So give me someone between under 10 and 8.5. That's your favorite play in that range. And then a guy in the sevens.
So, yeah, I'm going to have a lot on Jordan Spieth again this week. I think, with him at, that ownership right around 10, 11%, I think there is going to be some leverage opportunities there. People, whether it's, the alleged wrist injury or people just sour on him from, missing the cut last week. I think at 8,900, I think his winning upside to me is a lot more than those guys surrounding him, whether you're talking Sung J M, Matt Fitzpatrick, even Cameron Young. Much more confident in Jordan Spieth, either winning or finishing, top 5, top 10 than either of those guys that are surrounding him.
Do we want to do a bet on Jason Day versus Jordan Spieth?
I mean, if you're up for it, you do know Jason Day is without his caddy this week as well, right?
Correct. He has one with the new caddy that he does have on his bag.
I know.
So it's a bit of salt and pepper there. I don't know how I feel about it, but I kind of like Jason Days. I'll be planting my fag with him. So he's in the bucket for me. And we up. Straight up. Jason Day versus Spieth.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's do it. Same wager. Cool. 7K guy that you're going to be flag planting here in the sevens.
7K guy. Russell Henley will probably be my top guy, but just going down here lower, if you're looking to save money, again, I'll just go back to Ryan Fox here. There's no way he should be priced this low. So I'm feeling very confident. Ryan Fox, 7,100. Yeah.
Now that you mention, it's so obvious. Like, he's such a solid play at 7,100. I think he's inside the top 40 in the world golf rankings, right? Or he's 41st or something crazy low. So I've had to adjust his ranking in my model a lot. So I don't mind him at all. If I were to pick someone else, I might be going with Cam Davis. I just think if you take a look at what he's been up to, miscut top 10, T59 top 10. Like, he has one bad week, one good week. One bad week. He had a bad week last week. Time for Cam Davis to come back in that top 10 form at $7,700, under 5% owned. Sign me up there. So awesome stuff. Sweet bananas, boys, girls. Thank you for tuning in. This has been the BetSperts Golf DFS show. Go check out all of Ron's hard work over there at betsperts.com. Check him out at PGA Splits 101 on Twitter. And you can find all of his hard work over there too. I'm the Model Maniac on Twitter, and check out Back Nine Bets and a little bit of rotoballer action myself. And happy Memorial Week. Let's have a great one. We've got a star-studded field. Enjoy the golf. Enjoy watching people tilt over milkshakes and Jack Nicklaus. So there's a lot to go on here. Let's have ourselves a week.